Hello, I'm David.
Hi, I'm Julie.
Now we're going to do a review of Splendor Duel, which, as the name implies, is the two-player version of Splendor that you see behind us here. Here is the Splendor regular edition with the expansion and Splendor Marvel. At the end of this video, we will compare to those two. But first, we're going to give you a brief overview of how it plays, and then we'll give our rating and then our reasons, and then we'll compare it to the other two you see behind us. So Splendor Duel, you'll see right away that it sets up a little bit differently in the rows. The objective is you either have to get 20 prestige, and here's the prestige right here, or you have to get 10 crowns, and this one has a crown here and a crown, or you have to get 10 of prestige in a particular color. So for instance, if you had 3 red and then you had other rubies that added up to 10, you can win that way. You see you have 4 royals, which is like the nobles in the regular game, and nobles give you prestige. But you see there's these purple actions here, which I'll explain in a minute. So unlike the regular edition, you set up a pyramid. So you have 3 of level 3, which are more expensive to get. You need more tokens and bonuses. These cards will give you bonuses. You have 4 cards in level 2 and 5 cards in level 1. So what's different about the board here is that you're going to set it up, instead of having stacks of gems or tokens, you're going to put all the tokens in a bag, and you're going to lay them out in this pattern here. This is part of the fun because it randomizes the game every time.
It really is.
And you'll see there's a new token there called a pearl. You'll see that some of the cards require to use pearls to get, and that adds tension because you see when you watch How to Play and Playthrough, you'll hear me complain about, I can't get a pearl. But you can use gold as any other token type, including pearls. The important rule to remember is that you cannot, the only way to acquire gold is to reserve a card as one of your mandatory actions. So you can reserve a card in the pyramid here using gold, and then spend gold as a random. So you can see right away, you have the tokens laid out, you have it all set up, you pick a random player, and then the person that goes first, the other player, gets what's called a privilege token. So if I go first, Julie gets the privilege token, which I'll explain what that does in a moment. So let's go over the turn sequence. The turn sequence is you have 2 optional actions. You don't have to do them at all, but if you do them, you can spend a privilege, that scroll, to take any non-gold token off the board. So it gives you an extra token. And if you want, you can replenish the board if the bag isn't empty. At some point you will have to, because you'll be taking tokens off it. So you can do the first option and skip the second, or you can skip the first action and do the second action, or you can skip both of them. Now the mandatory actions are similar to the regular Splendor game. You can take tokens, you can take a gold token and reserve a card off the pyramid, or you can purchase a card on the pyramid, or if you reserved a card from a previous turn, purchase that card. Now let's take a look at how you take tokens off the main board. You could take up to 3 adjacent tokens in a column, a row, or a diagonal, but you cannot skip spaces. So for instance, I couldn't take these 2 because there's a space, or these 2. I could take these 2. I can even take 1 token if I really want to. But you also, for instance, I couldn't take these 3 with the gold because you can't take gold. So I could take these 3 diagonal, I can take this. Now there is a special rule that if you manage to take 2 pearls and 1 token action, you must give the other player a privilege scroll. Or if you take 3 of a kind, so if it was a situation like this, and I took these 3 blue, Julie would take a privilege scroll. And remember, privilege scrolls allow you to take a token before your mandatory action, as long as it's not gold. So you're either taking 3 in a row, up to 3 in a row, as long as you're not skipping spaces, in a row, a column, or a diagonal. The other action is you can spend your tokens to get cards. Now these are cheaper. So here, if I had a diamond, a sapphire, an emerald, and an onyx, I can purchase this, and this gives me a bonus. So if I did have this one, I have a permanent bonus of always a ruby to purchase other cards that need rubies. So for instance, I'd need 1 less ruby to get this. If I had a ruby token and I had the 2 diamonds, the 2 onyx, and a pearl, I could buy that token, buy that card. Now you'll see there's symbols here. When you acquire a card, you're going to get these additional actions. So let's take a look here at the cheat sheet. This is where you get a little bit more player interaction here. If you purchase a card with that 2 arrows, you could take another turn immediately. That includes doing optional actions. Here, if you take a token matching the color of this card from the board. So this is...
This one here, huh?
This one here. So if I were to purchase that card, I would take a diamond off the board if there is a diamond on here. So sometimes there won't be any diamonds here. You'll be less hesitant to buy this card because you won't get the bonus. The other one you have here is to copy a bonus. So when you purchase this card, you must already have... So you can't purchase this as your first card at the beginning of the game because you have to attach it to another card. So if I purchase this, I can make it a ruby. Or I can make an onyx or a diamond if I have those bonuses already. Notice there's a crown here. I'll explain what you do with the crowns in a minute. The other bonus that you can do is you take a privilege. Now there is a rule that if one player has all the privileges, you take it from the player, not from the common area. And then you can take 1 non-gold token from your opponent. That's what that arrow is right here. So that's a little bit of take that. That means you could take a pearl from them. There's only 2 pearls in the game.
It's not an arrow, babe. It's a hand grabbing.
Oh, a hand. I'm mistaken. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So what are the crowns used for? When you get 6 crowns, this gives you 2. This gives you 1. When you get your first 3 crowns, you can take one of these royalty. They're called royalty, not nobles in this. So you get to choose who you want. This is worth 3 privilege, 2, 2, and 2, and then you can get a bonus action. And then when you get your 6th crown, you can take a second noble royalty. So there's enough here for each player to get 2. And so you keep on playing until either someone gets 20 privilege, 10 crowns, or 10 of a color. Now there's one special rule that I had to look up that's not in the rule book. You see there are gray cards, a gray card here. Grays do not count as a color because it would be really easy to get 10 of this color. But because it's not considered a color, it's just considered 6 privilege. So it's like another column of cards, but it doesn't give you any bonus, but it does help you meet the condition here of getting 20 privilege, but you just can't use it for 10 of a particular color. So you keep on playing until somebody meets one of these 3 conditions, and the game ends immediately.
Yep.
Unlike the original Splendors, you do not play an equal number of rounds.
Nope.
All right, so let's take a look at our rating. So we both said 9.
Woo-hoo!
Now, if this was on our... We reviewed over 50 games in 2022. This came out in 2022.
Oh.
We didn't acquire this game in 2022, but I would probably, this would have made our top 10.
Oh, easy.
If not for sure, a top 20 of games of last year.
Easy.
So,
this might have been my number 1.
Really? You like it that much?
I really like it. It'd be maybe my top 5.
No, because you made Flamecraft your number 1.
I do love Framecraft. Yeah.
So let's take a look at why we're rating it so highly. Here's our reasons.
You're first.
So it's more strategic, deeper, 2-player version of Splendor. Deeper in that you are looking at these bonus actions here, and then when do you take an optional action to replenish the board, because that's a tension there. When you replenish the board, yeah, you're going to have more picks of tokens,
Yeah.
but you're also giving your opponent a privilege scroll to help, which allows them to take an additional token. So when you're looking around here on this pyramid, you're thinking, oh, do I want this or this because I get this bonus action? Am I going for crowns? It's just a lot more going on in a good way if you're a hobby gamer, which you'll get to one of my points later. Quality components and art. As you can see here, the art is outstanding. There's a little bit more going on in the original Splendor. The original Splendor is kind of, there's not a lot of detail in it.
No.
The tokens are just the same nice plastic. These are nice. The cards have a linen finish, which if you've seen from my other views, it's basically a foil stamp on it to help them stand up to more. See right there, it has that little hatch mark on it. Helps them stand up to more shuffling.
That's pretty thick too.
Yeah, the cardboard's thick. The board is thick. The bag is the only thing that's a little disappointing. It is shedding a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not the highest quality bag, but it works. Yeah.
It
and it
works.
is big enough for our hands.
Well, especially your hands.
Right. If you're a Goliath, you know, you might not. It might be too small. Different paths to victory. That's cool that you have this right here. This adds to the replayability. It also adds to the tension of what am I going to go for?
Exactly.
And because it is a race game, you're racing to get one of those.
Yep.
more options, tension, and player interaction, because there's a little bit of take that in the game. Some people might not like that. There are a few cards where you can take a token from somebody, and that includes taking those pearls, which there's only 2 of. Now,
Right.
they will come around when you replenish the board, but that adds some interesting tension to it.
Yeah.
And also, just like regular Splendor, when you might take a card or reserve a card that somebody's going for, whether you plan on it or not, that happens.
True.
Although neutral is increased analysis paralysis, but it does still play quick enough. You'll see during the how to play and playthrough that there's times we're looking at what's going on here and trying to figure out what do we really want. And I knew that when I missed a card here, that I wasn't going to win. When Julie took that card, because I could have gotten the same card, it wasn't this card, it was a different card. She jumped up in points. It's like, darn it, I could have gotten that, and I knew that I was pretty much destined to lose at that time. So if I would have taken more time to analyze my actions, the game would have been closer. So, but it is less accessible. When you're first playing the game, I would not play this game with someone who's new to Splendor.
True.
Unless they're like a hardcore gamer and they can handle this much complexity.
Yeah.
I would start with regular Splendor first. And in fact, I would do Splendor, then Marvel Splendor, then this game if you're really into Splendor. So
That's a good point.
So just keep in mind that if someone can't handle Carcassonne and Ticket to Ride yet, I would not try this game. If they can't handle those or even handle regular Splendor, don't even try. They need to
There's a lot going on.
ease into this game.
Yeah.
So there is some rules,
Oh.
lack elaboration, so that is a negative,
Oh.
which is too bad because this game is solid. But I had to look up, what do you do with these gray cards? Can it count towards this? Can you create a stack, a column of gray cards and get that victory condition? It's not in the rule book. You can't. And another thing was, it was difficult to understand this chart here because it implies that you always have to look for 3. No, you can take 1 token. You don't have to create. You can take 2 tokens as long as you're adjacent. But this little chart here makes you think that you always have to look for gems that can create a column like that or a row. So that was
Well,
one.
it does eventually say you can take 2 or 1.
Right, but the image makes you think that you have to
right.
always create
Yeah.
that you can't, like for instance, if it's like this, right? Can I take that pearl?
No.
You can. You can
Oh,
take
yeah,
one.
yeah, you can.
take one.
Yep, you can take 1.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But they needed to show
That you could do that.
that you could do that.
Right.
With the image of it always being a group of 3, to me it implied that you always have to have a group.
I see what you're
Okay.
saying. Yeah, yeah.
So other than that, the rule book was solid. I just had to look it up.
Sure.
All right, so let's take a look at Julie's.
Okay, I think this is a fun twist on regular Splendor. I like the prestige. I like the crowns. I like that you can get double gems on some of the cards. It's really awesome. The art is really, really nice. Good quality components. I love the colors on the tokens. Yes, they're like the original ones, but I love the pearl. And I think they kind of pop a little bit more on these littler ones. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't remember what else I said.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking for the double one.
I thought it was easy to learn and set up and play, but granted, we have played Splendor a bazillion times. So for me to learn how to play this was really easy.
So here's the double ones you're talking about.
Yep.
So those double bonus, they gives you 2 rubies every round.
And I think it's a decent playing time with 2 people. I mean, obviously, you can only be 2 people, but I like it. It plays fast, it's fun, but I agree with David that you have to have the knowledge of regular Splendor under your belt before you jump into this one. Otherwise,
Well, unless you're a really experienced gamer, you
True.
could jump into this.
True.
And so the interesting thing is when we first played it, I didn't realize it had this nice player aid on the back. And I was worried that there would be too much going on with those symbols. But if you understand Splendor,
It's easy.
this part is really the only thing new in the privilege. Other than that,
It's just like regular Splendor.
Right.
Yeah, it's easy.
and a different setup, of course.
True.
All right, so let's take a look now at how we compare it to original Splendor.
Okay, and Marvel Splendor.
Okay, so let's look at, now this has the expansion.
Oh,
So what we have done how to play and playthroughs of Splendor and Marvel Splendor and review. So what would you rather play right now? Splendor Duel, yeah, a 2-player game. Right now, this is firing regular Splendor.
yes.
Because when we play regular Splendor, there's not enough going on for 2 players. It's very much just be as efficient as possible. And this is why Julie's been beating me in regular Splendor Duel. She's beating me every time right now.
We've played 3 times and I've won every time.
Now, I would have beaten you the first time if I hadn't pointed out
Correct.
something, but I wanted you to understand how close you were to winning. But that's okay. I have not figured out. I'm really good at playing regular Splendor and being efficient.
Oh yeah, he kicks my butt on that one.
This game now, yeah, you want to be efficient, but it's easy to miss things, and Julie's catching things better than me right now. So I'm glad Julie's able to be more competitive.
And I think it's because he's concentrating so hard on what he's doing. I have extra time to like really analyze my stuff, so then I can be sneaky and get what I want.
Okay, what would you rather play, Splendor Duel or... Right, so right now, we'd rather play Splendor Duel than these other two. And if we were going to play with more than 3 players, the Marvel one's cool, but
I'd go with this one.
the reason why the Marvel one we're not playing as often is because it's like, oh, we got to review the rules. Regular Splendor, it's really easy to get to the table. Marvel there's more going on.
Yeah.
It's just like sometimes I don't feel like reading the rules again because there's a few little extra things in it.
But this is nice having a 2-player one already. I mean, otherwise we'd play the regular Splendor and make it a 2-player game. But this is already 2 players, so it's like perfect.
Right, that's why we'll play this over the other ones as a 2-player game.
And it's going with us on our little staycation.
All right, well, thanks for watching.
Thanks so much, you guys. We hope you like this. And please don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.